Before we begin with this episode, I want to share something. The last episode I posted about health and health tips you didn't learn in school, a listener sent me a message in response to that episode, and I want to share the voice note he sent to me.
This health topic is something that a friend of mine who is in the US and myself we've begun to pay attention to in a way because we are pursuing 40, close to 40 now. And it's just like an encouragement keep telling ourselves, time don't they go, no be time today, do anyhow, do this and that, and stuff like that. These things you made mention of, they are just readily available to us in this place. As a matter of fact, I used to be a security guard at Walmart, one of their stores here in Canada. So I noticed a pattern with the white people, especially when they come to Walmart to do grocery shoppings. Coca-Cola, as in soda products, are part of their grocery shoppings. You know how we go to the market, we try to buy, say, 50 kg of rice to take home. You see those guys, they'll carry, there's a way they package their Coke here. They'll carry box of Coke, box of, there's one they call Canada Dry. They'll carry box of Canada Dry, they'll carry Pepsi, you name it. And I'll just be looking, I'll be wondering, I'll say, man. So if this thing is truly bad for us, like they say, how come these people, take these things a lot and they still live very, very, very long? It's not like I'm doubting the fact that Coke is not good for us. So one thing I believe we resorted to is they say the Coke in Nigeria or Africa, the way it is being produced or the ingredients is quite different from the ones these people here take. That if you try to import Coke from Nigeria to this place, it's going to get banned. It's going to be hold on, see that. It's going to be what's it called now? Customs will seize it. It's contraband. So that's like the difference. I don't know. You can make your research on that and see if it's true. Like, is the Coke in Canada different from the ones in Nigeria? Stuff like that. But the main point that I'm driving home is the natural foods you talked about, like your fufu, your rice, and all of that. There is a quantity that you should take. You see the mechanics, all these are hustlers back home, the vulcanizers and all of that. You see them after a hard day of labor, they go sit down and load fufu, akpu, like massive akpu, and just download it. Do you know that in itself spikes up your sugar level? They go sit down, rice, spikes up your sugar level. But foods like beans, you know, is really good for the body. My friend, we did some a little experience at night before he went to bed, like some few hours before he went to bed. He took carbohydrate and went to bed. When he woke up the next morning, he used his sugar monitor to check his sugar level, and his sugar level went up. The the subsequent nights, he didn't take any form of carbohydrate. He took beans. The sugar level was the same or normal. The other nights, he didn't take any form of food, and the sugar level was better. And it just went back to the fact that before you go to bed, not just before you go to bed, try to stop taking massive food intake once it is, say, 5, 6 p.m. If you must eat after 5, 6 p.m., take fruits. We have a lot of fruits in this country. I came to this country, it's in this country that I've seen watermelon. Man, I said, is this natural? I've seen carrot, massive. There's one fruit they call cantaloupe. There's one kind of watermelon that is not the same as the one we have. They have onion that is not that color in Nigeria. There's one kind of onion here that is like white. So many different fruits. Now, when my friend and I, did all these things, he was like, anything after 2 p.m., don't take in massive carbohydrate in form of food, whether rice, swallow, semo, you name it. The reason for 2 p.m. is by 2 p.m. you should still be up and down, like maybe walk, moving around, doing one or two things, right? So he was like, try not to after 2 p.m. After 2 p.m., any intake, food intake should just be like low, low level kind of food that will get easily digested, and that's where fruits come in, different kind of fruits. So it's like if you are taking sometimes, so if you are taking these carbohydrates, in order for your stomach to be filled, and you don't just want it to be filled with that huge portion of carbohydrate that you have, factor in vegetables by the side. We have lettuce here. We have so oh boy. Maybe I'll go. I'm supposed to go to. I'm supposed to do groceries today. Maybe I'll just do a little video and show you some of these things so you have an idea. Nigerians are not really blessed. I won't use the word blessed. Nigerians are not really exposed. Some of these fruits that are banana does not grow. Banana and plantain does not grow in Canada, but banana is everywhere. Plantain is everywhere. Nigeria is not a country that things that we don't have that should have been maybe imported or brought in or grown. You bring it in and try to grow it, just like apple growing in Jos and stuff like that. We don't care. Our own is just to satisfy our stomach and go. You see people dying in their sleep. It's part of these things. You take in huge, carbohydrates, and by the time you go to bed, sugar level spikes in your sleep, and you follow there, take go meet your God. I really like this topic about health. When I was in Nigeria, when COVID started, I started doing exercise. I didn't stop that exercise till I left Nigeria. Before I go to work, I run from my house to what's this place called? To Makafa, that Makafa area. I turn around that triangle and I go back home. Then on Saturdays, the way I really loved doing that, I look forward to coming back home and you know seeing if I can run that stretch or walk to IBB Square. Go there, do exercise with a couple of people there, and I walk back home and I'm so happy. But coming to this place, like now, winter is just finishing. You can't go outside and run. There's ice everywhere. The cold is too much. Even your phone will tell you bad weather for running. When you check temperature to say the bad weather for run. I don't know if the team knows that I usually run because these phones these days, man, I don't understand. Whether they monitor people, I don't know. But in our complex, in our building, there's a gym room. So, but one thing I want to say is I developed two lumps under my both feet, and I attribute it to maybe the exercise I used to do, or I stopped, or me standing when I was, doing my security job. Because here, some jobs and factory job that I did in Nestle, standing all through. And so sometimes when I try to do some, strenuous movements, walking, and the lump begins to, make me feel uncomfortable. I've been thinking and I've been saying that I will take time and go to see a doctor and show them the lump. The lump is there on both feet. You know, the lump is there and it turned blackish a little bit. But anyway, now just the point here I want to add that I might have missed certain things because I'm trying to hurry up so that we'll go to church. But anyway, nice one, Chief. Keep it up.
I mean, that was an amazing contribution. I was listening to that and I was learning so much, and I'm pretty sure you got a lot from that voice note. I mean, it was completely wholesome. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to you.
This is a sponsored message. Still hitting the gym, but not seeing real results? You might not need a new workout. You might need the right supplements. At OG Supplements, we supply original, high-quality fitness supplements trusted by serious lifters across Nigeria. We're talking whey protein for muscle growth, creatine for strength and power, mass gainers for healthy weight gain, pre-workout for explosive energy, fat burners, and testosterone support supplements. And the best part, you get fast, reliable nationwide delivery and expert guidance to help you choose what actually works for your goals. No guesswork, just results. Contact OG Supplements on Instagram or TikTok, or text me on WhatsApp at 09137 47 7890 for a free consultation today. Again, 09 13747 7890. OG Supplements.
There is something that I had not been tracking through all my adult life until much later, like my mid 20s. And that is my friendship and how they evolve, the dynamics of friendship. If you know this dilemma, amongst men, we always have this dilemma, and it's always asked where if you see your friend's girl with another man or in a compromising position and they are about to get married, as a man, are you going to tell your fellow man this thing? Are you going to tell your friend this thing about his fiance, or are you going to keep it to yourself? You know, what would you do? I was watching a podcast earlier today, and this thing came up. Three guys in the panel, and they all had splitting opinions. One was like, he's not going to do that. If anything, he's going to see her and then try to hide himself so she doesn't see him, so that he can just exempt himself for the entire from the entire drama to begin with. So he's not going to say anything, and he's going to die with it. The fact that he saw that, because two people who have seen, according to him, right, two people who have seen their make themselves naked, you know, man and woman, you just don't interfere. You don't know the depth of your relationship. It's just best not to interfere. And then the second guy was like, you know, he's going to say it, but before he does, he's going to go and approach the lady first. You know, talk to her first, understand what are you doing. You know what, you know, try to hear her own side of the story completely first. And the third guy said he's going to cast no matter how. Personally, yeah, from all the information I would say that I've gathered in my life, there is only one answer to that question, and it is that I'll do what is best in the interest of my friend, at least to the best of my belief and knowledge, which is to tell him to cast it straight. If my friend is about to get married to a lady and I know her, but through him, you know, and I see how happy they make each other and everything. If I see her in a compromised position with somebody else, if she sees me good and fine, I'm not going to change anything about the evening I'm having. If I see that happen, I'm just gonna, okay, I've observed this, and I'm going to go on and have my evening. But what I will do, if she comes over to me to explain or whatever, perhaps that might change the whole thing. But if she sees me and then like moves away from there, so I don't see her, but I've already seen, I'm going around in circles. The point is, I will cast. I will tell my friend. Maybe I'll not call him right up and say, "See what I've just seen." No, 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 no. I'll give you some time to simmer because, for example, she might have gone over and told him, you know, I saw your friend here when I was out with Tunde. I don't know who the fuck Tunde is, but maybe my friend does. And so it's gonna be like, my babe said she was with this other guy, and then they said they saw you. And I'll be like, yeah. But I will still say, okay, but you do know she was like sitting on his lap that night, right? And is that a normal thing? Is that how you get down? you know, if this person is my friend, and it's not like you're into some kinky stuff that I know of, or a swinger type of. If it's not, if I don't know that to be your thing, I will inquire to make sure that you don't make a grave mistake of your life. I think anybody who is saying they will avoid it is just not a good friend. If you're thinking beyond the current time, if you're thinking beyond the present into the possible future, the level of ruin, like, would you want to be that guy? Would you want them to tell you? You know, some people will say no, and I don't know, no, don't worry, leave it. But I think it's maybe youthful exuberance or stupidity or something that causes people to say that. You know, for example, you are with a girl that you believe is out of your league, and so you know you will tolerate anything, and that is pure. That is absolute stupid weakness in a man, and that shouldn't even exist. So if that is the way you look at it, okay, you're on the wrong side. So in any case, everybody should be like, if you see something that you think I may not know about, tell me. And I think that's how everybody should be. Let me know. Especially something like a partner that is possibly cheating and I don't know and we're about to get married. If you're my friend, you will tell me. Oh. There's been a situation where when I was in uni, my friend had this girlfriend, and when he started dating her, this guy has been my friend since like my 200 level, right? And this was in 400 level, I think. So I'd seen him single, get into a relationship with somebody, break up, you know. And so his girlfriends were always people I was in talking terms with. I'm gonna start this story afresh. because I think I'm just scrambling the whole thing. So in 100 level, in 200 level, even from the afresh, I'm messing. In 200 level, I had a friend and he was single then. Well, I wasn't. We were single. We were single. Whatever, man. He started dating this girl in about 300, at about 300 level. They broke up. He was single for a while, and I think 400 level first semester or 300 level second semester, he started dating this other chick. I met her, and then we were on talking terms as I was with his ex. And then second semester of 400 level, which would have had them 6 months into this relationship, my friend didn't come to school second semester because he was in engineering, and engineering they had to go do their IT second semester, 400 level, and so he wasn't in school then. And then there was this chick I was going after that time. What was her name again? Helen. So Helen stayed in one compound, but it turns out that Helen was face to face neighbors with my friend's girlfriend, and so I sat in my. I went to see Helen one day, right? Or I walked Helen home, and we were both seated in her at her front porch. And then my friend's girlfriend's room, which is supposed to be in front of us, there was somebody sitting on the front porch as well. Who was that? Her roommate, my friend's girlfriend's roommate, was sitting on the front porch. And when we came in, we greeted her, and then Helen asked, "Where is this other person?" Knowing that that's my friend's baby. She said they are inside. They are inside, which is like she's inside with a visitor. I saw one big easy way outside. Big masculine easy way. And so she just sat outside, this roommate, and three of us were kind of gisting, but me and Helen were gisting. So I know that one was kind of an uncomfortable creaking third wheel. And she didn't like being that. So after a few minutes of me and Helen talking, we just heard his, oh, I'm fat, I'm going in, like, this frustration. And she had already been huffing and puffing. And I'm talking about my friend's girlfriend's roommate now. She'd been huffing and puffing outside. I noticed her discomfort, and then at some point she just snapped. I was like, oh, somebody needs to sleep. I become mosquito. Whatever she said. And then, and then she went to go and knock on the door, you know. And then after a few minutes, my friend's girlfriend came out with this guy, you know. I told my friend the very next day, I asked him, are you and that girl still together? Yeah, yeah, I said, no. So I just loaded him the full story, and we broke up with her. So, like I said, I think that is the makings of a good friend. And over time, as I started noticing what friendship is like, that's do for me, I will do for you feeling. And I've experienced the sweetness of, what that does. See, something that you would like to be done unto you, sure you could do it for another person. Because at least see that joy that you will feel if somebody does something nice for you. Imagine somebody else feeling it. You can also feel it for them. Like, I don't know. I think that's what love is like. If you describe love, is me gaining joy out of your pleasure. It's kind of like the opposite of Schadenfreude. I'm gaining joy out of your pleasure. So I would want to do stuff for you. I would want to do everything for you. And then if you love me back, you know, then that is the same way. So you kind of like, how do I say it? I'm taking care of you now while you're taking care of me instead of me taking care of myself. But to be at that level, both of you should have already been able to take care of yourself to a certain degree. I'm not talking about now spending somebody else's money. I don't want to be misquoted or misunderstood. But you get what I'm saying? That mutual sense of we will die for each other, not literally. So that is like the genre of friendship that I'm keeping now. If there's anything I can do to support or help you, I'm doing it because I know it will make you feel better. And I believe that we are this close because you will do the same thing if it were you. And then it happens in our everyday interactions. You can see that this person. When I was in primary school, my very first band of friends, like for example, Kelvin, like one of my oldest, maybe my oldest ever friend, because I've known him since I was like 7 or 8 years old. We went to the same primary school, and so when I'm saying my first experience of bromance, there were some in senior secondary school that, like, that's where that's the one that really touches my brain, as when I felt a pure sense of friendship and bromance. But before then, these were like my levels of making friends. I had that band of friends. There was me, Kelvin, Ochela, there was Jeremiah, and we've all gone different ways now, but Kelvin is the one I'm most in touch with now. And I mean, damn, so much time has passed. He's married with two children now. No, that was my friend. And then in senior secondary school, there was this other guy. At home, I had a friend. Yes, not the ones in school. I had a friend, my namesake, Chigozie. My name is Chigozie. So my namesake Chigozie. We were friends in the same neighborhood, you know. But we kind of drifted apart after a while. But we were very good friends. So that bromance was there, but it didn't still spark as much as the one. So in senior secondary school, I made friends with another namesake of mine. We call him Promise as well. So we were namesake. We used to sing together at for FCS in SS1. You know, we call ourselves Gospel P Square. Oh my god. Yeah. Funny how that just came back to me. Gospel P Square. Peter, Promise, why Promise was a funny guy. You know, he was a very frugal guy. You know, if you went to boarding school, there's some people that they are generous, like they used to give their provision. You know, there's people that are, you know them as stingy. Like it's their provision, no. That is one of the things that is to surprise me. It's their provision, but they're not very willing to give. Promise Winwu is more like that. You know, I know they, his nickname was I know they give because he had this accent. Instead of saying I know they give, he would say I know they give. They just call him I know they give, I know they give. But I used to eat from Promise, so I didn't think he was stingy. I understood it, but I wasn't a what I say, victim of his miserly behavior or his frugality. But in at that level where you can now understand the importance of bromance and emotional support in the mental stability of somebody, when you understand that stage of your life, adolescence, where you are seeing the world come with its own problems, you're no longer a child. You're in a boarding school now, trying to fend for yourself at that level of life where you understood the importance of emotional support to mental stability, the friends you make who provide you that, you don't forget them easily. And so I think that's why my relationship with Omeje Joseph was a really interesting spark for me because our relationship involved a lot of sharing. And I think that's one of the things that strengthened it or that gave me this feeling that made it stand out to me as a good bromance or friendship that I remember. This level of sharing. Like if we had provision, if we were both hungry, for example, we wake up, once we wake up, we go together to go and brush our teeth and we come back, we get dressed together, we go up to class or school or whatever, or church together. And so we understand that our circadian rhythms kind of work. I would like to say, what would I call it again? The system that regulates your food from satiation to hunger. What would I call that? Whatever, our stomachs were working in sync, kind of. So if I was hungry, he was hungry, like he would know. So if I say, we to go chop now, he's already thinking, true. But with some other people, they might have a solution of food, but they wouldn't. I don't know how to put it. He saw it as an us thing. Like I get good mon, so maybe when we finish, we go and eat. I'm like, cool. And I like that because I knew that if I had golden mon as well, I would suggest that we both go eat it because that's at the level of which at which I value that's the level at which I value this person. And so we shared a lot of stuff. When I had provisions or money, we would eat together and everybody just had this sense like, okay, he did today. Maybe I should meet up to. There was this healthy competition of who I'll do for each other. Like that upward spiral relationship. That was the first time I experienced that kind of thing. And I remember that Omeje's golden one because it meant so much to me. I was skint in school that time when he freely just suggested we eat his golden one or we go and share golden one, which is his own. And so that relationship where we were trying to do for each other was one of the best ones I can remember. My first experience of having a proper friendship where there is give and give. So that's one way I started looking at relationships. But I didn't really clock it then as this is what this is. It is because we are giving each other that our bond is kind of strong. It's not because we are doing like this that our bond. I didn't clock it then. I just thought this is a very interesting relationship. I like my guy. I like this guy. But I didn't, deconstruct it. And now I'm thinking my best relationships have always been the ones that we're both, matching each other's energy and generosity in doing for each other, you know. And so another place where I made it, I only left NYC camp with what I would say with one friend, maybe two. One friend, maybe two. I hope I'm not leaving anybody out. But honestly, to myself, a lot of acquaintances, beautiful acquaintances, but people that are my friends, two people, and we had that similarity. Well, with one person, which is Ima. If you follow the NYA series, you would literally see exactly how I met Ima because I was doing the NYC series as I came to camp. and I was gisting everything. And at some point in the series, maybe day 3 or day 2, he might came into the picture. And if I'm narrating anything happening during my camp days, you would hear him in the story somewhere because we were always together. And we used to go to Mami together. We didn't eat food from the dining. I think twice we did. But never a time where we at the table eating and we're like sharing money or how much is the bill? I send this money, let's send. We just, if we both of us want to go and eat, we go to eat. And the first person to stand up to pay the bill pays the bill. Like it doesn't matter. And if I pay today, he might make sure he pays tomorrow or pays in the evening. Or he might even pay for 2 meals in a row. And then I know that I have to do for this guy. His account is getting, but I don't know how much he has. He has already paid for my food twice. I would want to make sure that I support myself and him as well. So the relationships like that not only bring out, not only strengthens itself. Like because of that, we are tighter because we are much more invested in each other than just the company we provide each other. If I care about his finances, I will not let him overspend money unnecessarily. The same thing he will do with me. And if he looks at a relationship that I'm pursuing, maybe with another person or a girl, and he sees that I'm not being treated well, he will tell me, that depth, it just comes in so many different dimensions. And then that friendship is strengthened as a result of that. There's something else that strengthens friendships is also giving and taking. Sometimes somebody will offer you something, and when you say no to it, there's this awkwardness that just sits there. It doesn't happen with everybody. Some people you can easily just decline what they're offering you and it's cool. But there are certain people, in certain situations, they offer you something, and most of the time you are 50-50 whether to take it or not, and you say no. A lot of the time that tension. But if you always say yes and you accept help and gift from people that are your friends, maybe they're not so, maybe this is the early stages of a relationship. If you are much more open in accepting gifts, you can strengthen a relationship because they wanted to give. You understand? They wanted to share something, they wanted to give. They were extending a hand basically with whatever that was that they were offering. And I know it's politeness, modesty that makes us to decline most things, but in some context, it's actually good to accept when something is offered to you. There are different cases. I'm thinking of one. Maybe you go to their parents' house and their mom offers you what they are cooking. You might want to say no, but don't you think you will be closer to that family if you sit and eat dinner with them? Talking about dinner. Yesterday I was at Beer Barn in Lekki. I was sitting with my friend. I went over there to see him. We were supposed to chill together, and he was supposed to tell me about his. There was something we were supposed to talk about, right? And I wish I could tell you my friend's name so that we can follow the story much more easily, but I can't because of how the story goes. But this is a very, very important lesson in friendship that I learned yesterday. He got a role to host a podcast, a contract to host a podcast. I remember when he was telling me about this, the possibility of this contract happening, and how he wants the opportunity, he would like to branch into that industry. That he was relishing the opportunity and hoping that it comes. And he shared that with me, and he told me that this is not something he shares with people. This kind of news he doesn't really share it with people. I didn't tell him in that moment, yeah, but I understood that this was a good friend because there are certain things I would tell this guy that obviously I will not tell other people as well. And we have become close in this short period of time. And so he was telling me, so I asked, because I traveled and we had not seen each other for a long time. And when I asked him before going there, how his work, how is the new podcasting going, he opened up to me. I was talking about how, there are some issues there. They have complaints over certain things that it's just difficult to navigate. But we didn't talk about it deeply. He just said it was hell on the chat. And then when we sat down to talk, he explained the thing properly to me. The kind of blaming, saying his energy was too low in some of the interviews he's doing, the montage they shot, they didn't like his energy as well, and it didn't make sense because his energy is bubbly. He's a bubbly, vibrant guy. I don't know if I told you, but he's funny, like really funny. So whatever they're saying about his energy, and definitely they contracted him because of his energy. So what can, I mean, you're paying this guy for being himself. And so why do you have a problem for him being himself? It's crazy, that difficulty. But then he said something. He said that the producer, one of the conversations he had with her, he was like, that the thing is giving him issues. Like he wishes, well, I don't want to misquote him, let me be very careful. But at the end of the day, it's terrible. That's basically what he was saying. And at some point, he was having a conversation with the producer, and the producer said, if it's something, you should get another person. We should get another person for this. Da, 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 da. So as he mentioned that, now, this is the delicate part of the story. As he mentioned that, I thought, oh, I'm a presenter. I could present like these interviews, face-to-face podcast with somebody is what I've been doing on the Great Living podcast for a long time. I've sat down to interview maybe 100 people. So I've learned a lot. And so you know what I offered him? I said, I probably have a solution. That's what I said to this your issue. How about you suggest that somebody else does the podcast on your behalf, but you still get paid? Like, let me be shooting the episodes with them and you get paid all the money. I'll just do the shoot. Maybe if they're satisfied with the way I do it, then that could be an agreement that will fly. Now, in my mind, I was thinking, yeah, that way he still gets paid. He can look for another gig like that and still get paid for that one. While me too, I'm able to do this interview and maybe even get a gig of my own out of there. No, I didn't say this to him. I just said, why don't you do, like, suggest this, and this. And he immediately hit me back with, how is that a solution? You're basically, how can I be sharing my problem with you? And then you have given me a, in quotes, solution that is only going to amplify yourself. This might make sense to you as I'm saying it now, but when he first said it back to me, I'm like, I don't see, I was almost offended. Like, I don't see what's the issue there. If the way if you don't like the place anymore, they're talking about replacement, the only way you can retain the contract and the payments, and so not lose entirely. And then if I do it and I do it well, you can regain the contract and the payment while I just do the interview. It's like I'm getting something, but you're also getting something out of the situation. But it's like, no. And then he started saying this thing, like, he said it was, he used one word, he said it was, I think the meaning was classless, which you can see how offensive that can be. Now, this is important because I was more concerned about how have I offended this guy than my ego. Because when he used that word, I recognized it, but my goal was to understand what I had done to, like, where is the offense coming from, so that I don't do it again. You feel me? And so I listened beyond that, and I began to understand that he didn't say he does not want the job anymore, or he's so tired he doesn't want to do it anymore. He didn't say that. He didn't say this was not a big deal for him too. So why would I be wanting to take? It's like it feeling like I want what he has. But saying all those things now, as it didn't feel good for me to hear, but I was glad that I was able to listen to the point of understanding that now, because I was defending it in the beginning. I was like, this helps both of us, because I didn't understand his own perspective of what I just played out there. So there and then I understood. And then he went on to tell me different things about, if he's making friends these days, there's certain things they want. Not even making friends, he's meeting people. The reason why he can't really make friends is because there's a way, because this guy has a massive following online. And so there's a way everybody wants to do a video with him, so he doesn't get authenticity a lot. And so this now is now giving him that same feeling of the opportunity he has now. I want it, and I'm over. Yeah. So he said a lot of things, including that, like that first word. He said, I'm over ambitious, and he's not taking too much offense because he knows that as my characteristic, because I've shown this type of character. It's just that this one that I've done now, he doesn't vibe with it at all. And that was when I was still defending. But now when he explained the whole context, like, this is an opportunity I'm excited to have, and I'm looking for a way to excel in the opportunity, not run from it. I want my face amplified there as well. I, did the work to get into this position. All these things, I started understanding it, thinking of it now from his, I put myself in his shoes, and then it made a lot of sense to me that it clearly is something he wants to succeed at, not say, I don't like the energy here again, I'm leaving. Because to be fair, that's kind of like how I move myself. If there's an off vibe in somewhere I'm working, I wouldn't want to be there. I will leave. I'll forfeit the money, I'll forfeit everything. If I'm complaining about something, it's because I'm really tired of it. Things that I really want to swallow and trudge on with, I keep quiet and swallow it because I still really want to be there. So you see that way that we both, the different ways that we see life almost affected our relationship. But he was able to tell me the thing. And so some relationships will collapse because you didn't tell him. You didn't tell her. I always say this thing. If somebody brings a problem, I always ask, have you told them? Did you tell them? You know, in any situation or any conflict anybody has brought to my table, having with somebody else, I always ask how much the other party knows about what they are doing to you, what their actions is doing to you. And that's something that we don't do. Somebody might do something that slights you, you know. You shake me, you shake this guy, come hug me. I will, something slight can slight you. Something minor can slight you. And you will just hold that grudge quietly. And you might even forget to bring it up. But conflict delayed is conflict multiplied. And so it might store itself somewhere, not in any tangible form that you can really recall or know what it is, but it stays in your body, in your psyche as an emotion. And then some other minor thing happens and it, compounds. And then over time, all of that is kind of changing your perspective and view of this person slowly. And you don't love that friend or partner as much as you did before, but you don't really understand why. Because it's the little things that you ignore, but you don't like, but you didn't bring up so you can clear. Because some of those things, they were done subconsciously, but you don't know. You took an offense. So when something happens like that, where an offense is taken, and then even while the person that took offense has opened their mouth to, as in, that cross that first level and confronted the issue. Most relationships and issues, when they bring up problems, is because they value the relationship. They want it to work. They don't want wahala. So this wahala now, let us clean it up. That's why some people bring up issues. And so I recognize that in friendships at this point now. Like standard. There's no issue anybody will bring to me and I'll see it as, oh, you're insulting me. How now? So he crossed that first barrier and confronted the issue. That's the first barrier. Now, the second one is that the other friend, that's to know the level you are in emotional intelligence of you between you and your friends now. Because now, I recognized what he had done as trying to strengthen the relationship, not break it, by confronting me with how he felt about my response or my idea. And it also took me to make my sole focus be to understand his grievance and to understand his grievance alone and nothing else. Kill the ego, kill pride, just understand what exactly did I do that has offended you. Let me understand, my guy. And so because of that framework and that mindset, I was able to understand, this is where I went wrong. So this is how this thing looks. Because I didn't understand something about, you understand? How many times have I said understand? I'd figured out his mindset, the state of mind he was before hearing my idea. And if I put myself in that state of mind and hear my idea, the way he explained it to sound is the way it eventually sounded to me. So I got it and I apologized accordingly. And then it was now smooth. That has made our relationship stronger. I'm better friends with him now than I was 3 days ago because of that thing there. But that thing there could have caused a lot of discord. Say, for example, he said something about his classes. I'm like, who are you calling classes? What is it that? And I will just hold that grudge. And it's just a word that really describes how he feels, like, what that comes off as, and nothing else. Anyway, don't miss out on great friendships over little things that you can really, really grow out of, like rise above. This has been the Good Living Podcast.
This is a sponsored message. Still hitting the gym, but not seeing real results? You might not need a new workout. You might need the right supplements. At OG Supplements, we supply original, high-quality fitness supplements trusted by serious lifters across Nigeria. We're talking whey protein for muscle growth, creatine for strength and power, mass gainers for healthy weight gain, pre-workout for explosive energy, fat burners and testosterone support supplements. And the best part, you get fast, reliable nationwide delivery and expert guidance to help you choose what actually works for your goals. No guesswork, just results. Contact OGG Supplements on Instagram or TikTok, or text me on WhatsApp at 091 3747 7890 for a free consultation today. Again, 09137 477 890. OG Supplements.